Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Drone to 1K podcast. I'm your host, David Young. This is Season 3, Episode 7. So technically, I think this is our 27th episode. Today on the podcast, we have Hurst from Columbus, Ohio. Cool guy. Also met this guy on Instagram. I feel like that's how a lot of these start is I'm browsing Instagram. I find somebody's cool drone stuff. I follow him for a while, and then I'm like, hey, you know what? I'm going to get this person on the podcast. So today we have Philip with us on the podcast, Columbus, Ohio. It takes a lot of really awesome shots and videos from around Columbus, and he is going to take us on his journey of how he started just from, again, messing around with drones to getting clients, to upgrading his equipment, to making a full-time living off of just doing his drone work. So really enjoyed checking out Philip's story, and you should check out his social media. He's got really, really good photos, good videos up there, and has really great work. So if you get a chance, check him out. Before we get into the interview, like always, a few housekeeping items. You may have heard on the last podcast, but right now, for two of our smaller courses, there's one called Drones 101 and one called Mavic Mini 101. And we're actually working on a Mini 2. I don't think we're going to call it Mini 2 101. That's too many numbers. But essentially the same course for the new DJI Mini 2 Mini 2 drone that came out. They're essentially courses that allow you to squeeze all the juice out of the drone. So Drones 101 actually is about just drones in general. So it teaches you how drones work, how the components work, gives you some flight exercises, everything you would need to know if you're a beginner with drones, the ins and out, it shows it to you. So normally that's like $49 on our website. You can get it for $1 if you just go find it on our website under the courses tab, Drones 101. Just type in podcast as the promo code, and it'll make it $1. So just trying to hook up our podcast listeners with some sweet deals, especially for any beginners, intro folks out there. If you have purchased the Mavic Mini, the original one, we have a course for that called Mavic Mini 101, and that shows you how to use every feature in the software, shows you how to do everything you need to do with it, how to register it if you need to register it, if you're using it for Part 107 stuff, or if you're attaching anything to it that would put it over the weight limit, how to register, how to set it up, simple stuff like unboxing, but we show you how the controller works, also give you some flight exercises, and then we go through literally every possible menu option setting, show you how the smart controls work, how every different cool flight feature is. So if you get the drone, you're like, man, I just want to understand how to use this to its fullest extent possible. That's what this course is for. So again, you can get that one for $1, just the word podcast. That's it. You get it for $1. So we'll leave those up for now. If you're listening to the podcast way in the future, you can check that code. It might not be active at that point, but worth a shot. And then I'm excited. Hopefully in about 2 months, we'll have our Mini 2 course ready for those of you who are out there buying the DJI Mini 2 drone. A lot of cool stuff going on with that too. So just want to make you aware of that. Also, if you want to win some freebies, coaching call, that Drones 101 course, you can win that one, although I just gave it a promo code to you for $1. But you could win it for free. T-shirt, mug, and hat. Those are the things we're giving away. Coaching call with the podcast guest is what I meant to say at the beginning. Fill out just a quick questionnaire. It's not even a questionnaire. It's literally one question, just to prove that you listened to the podcast episode. And you can pick some prizes, and we pick 5 every week. And then we record that Q&A call. We'll be releasing those as kind of like bonus mini episodes in between seasons. So that's really fun. I've enjoyed doing those. But there should be a link in the email that announced this podcast episode, or if you go to our YouTube channel and find this episode, the link will be there as well. I would just tell it to you on the podcast, but it's, like dronelaunchacademy.com or .typeform something. It's not a super easy URL. So just go find it there. You just have to fill it out this week that the podcast episode goes live. So 7 days from this release date, fill it out, and you can enter to win some cool stuff there. That's it. Oh yeah, and if another way to win a t-shirt, leave a review and screenshot it and send it to us, and we'll send you a t-shirt to say thanks. Just an honest review, your feedback for the podcast. All right, so that's my normal housekeeping items. Really enjoyed reading some of your reviews and getting some feedback that has been emailed in. We're always aiming to make the show better. So your feedback always helps, and it's fun to hear about people saying, this podcast gives me a lot of inspiration, and I learned so much from these guests. So for me as a host, that's fun to see because, hey, it shows that it's valuable to people. You're enjoying it. You're getting things out of it, and it motivates us to keep going and do things going forward. Also, if you're not following us on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, we take the podcast episode, and we actually cut up kind of some cool snippets and kind of key things that podcast guests say, and we include them on our Instagram page, along with, cool drone photos, things like that. So Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook, we put them there. So make sure you're following us in all those spots. That way you can kind of get some cool snippets from the podcast, kind of like key moments. And then we also write up some advice and business tips there in those captions. So if you're not following us, follow us there. All right. Thank you again for joining us for episode 7 of the podcast. I'm getting sad. We're getting close to the end. We've got 10 episodes this season. But I'm already excited for season 4 because we've been recording some episodes for that. So really excited to share that with you. But yeah, season 3 almost coming to a close. So appreciate you guys hanging in there with me and listening and being loyal and working hard at your drone business. Remember, you actually have to take action. So the stuff you hear on this podcast, you might think, oh, that's great. That's well and good. But I know it's easy to think that and sit on the sidelines. So I just want to encourage you to get out there with your drone, keep flying, be active, reach out to people, network, all of those things that lead to business and growth for your company or your future idea. But you got to go out there and actually do it, right? I always tell people there's like an equation. It's like, action plus knowledge times time equals success, right? So the more action you take, the better you increase your chances for success. The more knowledge you get, the better you increase your chances for success, and you can cut down on that time component if you do more action and more knowledge. Otherwise, if you're slacking in action and slacking in knowledge, it's going to take a lot more time to get the same success, even if you do get it at all. So I'll kind of keep that in your head. Think, I need to be learning, I need to be implementing, and that means I can cut down on my time, or I'll have more success for the same amount of time put into it. So something to keep in mind, something to hopefully motivate you to get out there and continue to work. It's fun to see some of the progress from, we launched our Drone to 1K course, several months ago, maybe about 6 months ago in the late summer, it was right about midsummer. It's fun to see some of the progress from those students who have been continually implementing things and practicing what we've taught in the class. They're now landing bigger and bigger jobs, and people are finding their website through SEO and all the stuff that kind of takes a little while to get going, right? That you have to have perseverance with. It's all starting to pay off for people. We're seeing that in some of the groups. I'm even getting emails from people that say, hey, I've been listening to your podcast for a while. I've been implementing these things. And now, hey, I've made it my goal to be on your podcast and hit the 1K mark. And now I did that. I hit the 1K mark and I want to be on your show. So I'm like, sweet. So we got that person scheduled. They're coming on. So I want you to be a success story. I want you to be able to come on the podcast. But to do that, you got to take action on what you're hearing, what you're learning. So get after it. Anyways, all right. My little pep talk is over. Let's get to the podcast episode with Philip. Let's dive in. All right. So welcome everyone back to another episode of the Drone to 1K podcast. We're in season 3 here. Today I have with us Philhurst. Is that how you say your last name?
Philhurst, that's correct.
Philhurst, thanks for coming, Philip.
Absolutely.
I've been following you on Instagram for a while, Philip, and I hit you up and I was like, hey man, I would love to have you on the podcast.
We gotta do this.
And you're like, yeah, sounds good. So I'm happy to have you. Why don't you tell everybody who you are and just give a quick little intro to yourself.
My name is Philhurst. I'm with Philhurst Media. Started doing media, I'd say, or just started messing around with cameras, I'd say probably about 10 years ago, and decided to take it seriously about, 5-6 months ago. But it all started about a year ago when I got a drone. I got my first drone, Mavic 1. I was working for an architectural company. I was like, oh, I can go up and do roof inspections as opposed to going up there and climbing up there myself. Let me send this up there, get some photos real quick. And then we had ongoing construction projects. I'd go out there and get some really cool, cinematic footage of it. And I'm like, I think I'm onto something here. I think something's happening here. So I kind of took it to the next level and I pitched my boss, hey, I'd love to start doing this. And they were like, yeah, we'll try to find a way to work it in there. And I was like, okay. And they never found a way to work it in there. And at this point, people were starting to see my Instagram posts and starting to see the things that I'm doing online, whether it be my cinematic videography or my 3D mapping or my photography or any of the above, period. People started saying, hey, can you come map my property? Or, hey, real estate agents, can you come get an overview of the 10 acres that we're trying to sell? It's a view that most people can't see. And the Google image, it's outdated. So would you mind? Yeah, sure, not a problem. And I was like, all right, I know I need to get my Part 107. So got my Part 107 probably within the first month of getting my drone. Studied my tail off nonstop. Just YouTube. I read a lot. I read the Part 107 manual nonstop.
Oh, I'm sure that was a fun read.
Bro, that is probably the most dull thing. But it's all pertinent information, and it made me have a respect. I always had respect, but a much higher respect for
Sure.
airmen and for pilots and for people, not only just airmen, but even like drone pilots. There's a lot of stresses that we deal with, and a lot of um, risk analysis that we're always continuously dealing with. Even when we're flying, I'm always analyzing different risks.
Yeah.
So it gets very
or at least
stressful.
should be if you are
Should be
knowing
analyzing.
if you know what you're doing.
All the risks.
Yeah.
But it wound up being lucrative to the point where I could quit my job in architecture.
Awesome.
So now I fully quit my job in architecture. I started my LLC about 6 months ago, and now full time I am flying my drone cinematically. But my drone is really just a tool. We don't call a carpenter a professional hammerer. No.
Yeah,
you know
I love that. I love that.
He's a professional sawyer. No.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
I'm a carpenter. The saw, the hammer, the drill is all part of my tools. My stabilizer, my drone, my dollies, my jibs, those are all part of my videography tools. It just so happens that my drone is my dolly, my drone is my jib, my drone is my stabilizer, my drone is my arc dolly, my drone is my regular dolly, is my helicopter. It literally replaces 7 pieces of cinematic equipment with one operator and a fraction of the setup time.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So you're pretty new. So your first drone that you ever got was a year ago, and you quit your job, and now it sounds like you have at least a little bit.
I'm an anomaly, man.
Well, no, I think that's great for people to see, because sometimes we have people on here that are like, yeah, I was working at it for 2 years before I got anywhere, and we just did an episode with someone else where they said, listen, I started my business 4 months ago. Now they were like a hard charger, like former military guy, like feast or famine kind of situation, but like making it work, right? So I think it's great for people to hear different perspectives of like, hey, listen, you can do it, like you did it.
It's really about the hustle and the drive. I come from a very, very poor family. I was always raised to nothing was ever given to me. I've never been given any breaks or anything like this. So I was the first one in my family to go through college. And when I graduated, I thought that's what I was supposed to be doing. I thought I was supposed to go to college, get a career, work in architecture, have these people tell me I'm worth this much a year to sit here. Yeah, but I can do this. We don't need you for that. We need you for this, and this is worth this much a year. And I was like, forget that. Like, I have skills. You're getting rich off of my skills. Why am I making you rich? I was like, I have something, especially when it comes to drones, like not many people get it. Not many people understand and know exactly how it can be utilized. And it's, I was lucky enough to learn on a DJI Mavic 1, which made it rather easy because they're very easy to fly. You know what I mean? Like there's no real skill level to it. There is to a certain extent to become like an expert cinematographer. There are certain types of smoothness on the sticks and settings you need to be really thinking about. But as far as, getting it up in the air and going left, going right, going forward, going back, let off the sticks, it's not going to go anywhere. Cool.
Just hits the brakes.
Do anything? Cool. Yeah. Take a picture. Nice. I got a really tall tripod. No. Let me see you move a little bit and track a subject in a parallax movement with no jerky moves and no periscope up. That's when you're a pilot in my eyes. Yeah. So I literally sat on the sticks maybe 3-4 times a day. I would burn through 3 batteries, charge them up, go out and burn through 3 batteries, charge them up, go out and burn through 3 batteries. So I was literally flying
just tons
sunrise.
of practice.
Oh yeah, I was flying sunrise to get the sunrise photos, midday just for fun, and then sunset, and then just into twilight hour to get some possible. On a Mavic 1, it's kind of difficult, but some nighttime shots. So I just really, really, really put the time into the sticks, and then on top of that, I really I started branding myself.
Yeah.
I built my Instagram page and really started putting my content out there.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit. So you got your drone and you're practicing a lot with it, and you're still working at the architecture firm at this point, right? And you said you first started to look at roofs, and was that kind of about the same time where you're putting in all this practice, or did the intense practice time kind of come later?
See, on my lunch breaks, while my first accident was on my lunch break, my first day that I got my drone.
The first day you got your drone?
I was on my lunch break at my architectural firm. I was like, I want to go put this thing out. So I went out in the field, put it in sport mode. I was just gunning it.
Yeah,
just all over the place. And I didn't consider that 40 extra feet it needs to stop when it's coming down full bore. Yeah. And I tried to just do one of these things and turn around, and it just kept on going backwards and right into a tree. I'm like, no!
Oh, that sucks. Was it okay?
That, I was like, okay, calm down, really start putting into the time. Now this is like my first day or two flying. Yeah. After that, my drone went with me everywhere. If I had a down moment, I'm putting the bird up in the air, and I'm practicing some things. I'm putting myself in really crappy situations, like flying through tight spaces, or flying with it facing me and trying to get used to the controls being backwards.
That's how I crashed my first drone.
Oh man, talk about needing quick reflexes in a parking garage when it's looking at you.
Oh gosh.
Bro, it was like, hold on a second, I'm gonna fly away real quick. I'm like, no,
wrong way.
Sent it right into the wall.
Oh, you did.
This is my Inspire too.
No. You wait, your Inspire, like, did you have the first Inspire?
The Inspire 2.
Oh, like, oh yeah. Gosh.
It was big boy.
Did you break it, or was it salvageable?
Oh yeah, it was perfect.
Oh, okay.
Other than the props, I had aftermarket Zors on there.
Okay.
And
that's not a cheap drone to break.
No, bro, no. And I put a pretty penny into it. Like, I spent my savings on it, but it set me apart from everybody else because nobody can get the footage I get anymore. But I was like a foot off the ground. I was in between the parking garage and the building, and it is okay. And then all of a sudden, it was just like, it just went flying right into the wall. Props smashed, shattered all over the place.
Was that because you bumped the controls, or was it like a wind thing?
No, it was a parking garage, magnetic interference, brother.
Oh, dang, that sucks. Well, I'm glad it's okay at least.
Oh, it was fine, man. Like, you know how the arms are on the Inspire? Well, they were able to twist, so the props were like this, and I had to tighten all the bolts back up, and now they're. I was worried there for a second because that's my bread and butter, man. That's how I get paid. Yeah, for sure.
Gosh. All right, let's rewind.
Long and the short is, be careful in parking garages.
Good story. Yeah. All right. So let's rewind. So you got your architecture firm. What was the first client you ever got? Like, the first time someone ever, did you go reach out to people, or did someone come to you for your first paying client? Let's say that.
First drone client. So I mountain bike pretty avidly. I race mountain bikes, and I know a promoter. And there's a big mountain bike race here, and he was like, hey, can you come out and get some drone footage of this big mountain bike race that happens in Loudonville, Ohio? Like 500 racers. It's a 100-mile mountain bike race. It takes the entire day. Huge event, shuts down the entire town, and it looks really cool with all those really colorful mountain bike jerseys and mountain bikes, and the whole peloton all leaves at one time, so 500 riders go. So he's like, yeah, can you come out and do this and document it? And that was my first paying gig. And nice. After that,
and that was just a kind of an existing. Was that just an existing contact you had?
Just an existing contact, yeah. And
then
I was like, that's great. I need to start developing some business, and then I did a couple. I went on Zillow.com. Legit, just went on Zillow.com. Started finding $500,000 plus homes, and finding that agents that are attached to those homes, and just started shooting out. Hey, I would love. Hey, I would love. Hey, I would love. Hey, I would love. About 500 of them in about 2 days, saying, I will come do free work. Free work. First one's free. After that, I will prove my worth, and I'm going to get your house sold. I get your houses sold. You paying me as a byproduct of you getting your house sold.
So how did that work with the outreach, like on Zillow? Was that kind of,
I'd say
I know
about,
sometimes cold outreach can be hit or miss, but how did it go for you?
I'd say it was about, excuse me, out of those, I'd say 500 people that I reached out to, I'd say I wound up landing about 15 of those.
I
Okay.
mean, that's not bad, honestly.
That's not bad numbers for one guy
And for
having
cold outreach, you know?
having 15 realtors that will
Hmm.
be continuously giving, that keeps me busy. I
Yep.
don't need, I can be busy with 5 realtors, 5 proper realtors.
Sure.
So put yourself out there, be willing to do free work, because without a portfolio or without any examples, it's kind of hard to be like, yeah, I'm a professional drone pilot, and I will be the first one to say I'm the best one around this area, and I would love to see anybody test me. And when I send them to my Instagram, the proof is in my work.
Yep.
Like, I'll send them to other people's Instagrams for their drone work. Like, this is the things you don't want to see: these jerky movements, this not being able to track, these non-cinematic movements. I'm trying to sell your house here. I don't need to go up in the air and do a periscope up and let you see the water tower that's 5 miles away. Who cares?
Yeah, yeah. Well, just give people some context real quick. What part of the country are you? I mean, I know you and I have talked
I
previously,
live in
but
Ohio. I live in the Midwest,
yep.
and I
So
like to say I'm the best in the Midwest. So
nice. And you're good. I've seen, like, obviously I've been following your Instagram, and
I mean,
I like it too.
now I say that jokingly. I'm sure there are people out there that are
No.
better than me. But when it comes down to it, I'm not just a pilot. I'm just also a media professional, and I'm a cinematic photographer and videographer. So yeah, I can catch great content and I can do good drone work, but I like to find the value in my end product, because,
Yep.
like I said, my drone work are just establishing shots to help support a much bigger story.
Right. And I think, too, it's good to have confidence and sell yourself, right? Like
Oh
if you
yeah,
go to talk to a realtor and they can tell you don't even believe in yourself and your
yeah.
work,
No, they
right?
don't want nothing to do with you.
They're not going to believe in you. Yeah. So,
No, they're trying to
yeah.
sell houses.
Yeah. Yeah. So you were just, you're going to go boots on the ground, just reach out to tons of people to do free work. Now, of those 15 or so, say people, how many of those 15, let's say free work uh, jobs turned into paying clients?
I have, out of those 15, I have, I'd say 8 of them are retained.
That's
And
awesome. So
yeah,
like half or
I,
more
I
than half.
have, I got a call yesterday to do one on Tuesday. And now it's not only just turning into real estate work. A couple of buddies of mine are shooting a pilot for ABC, and they said, hey, come in
Wow.
and go ahead and get us some establishing drone shots.
That's
And because
awesome.
of this, now my name is going to be on IMDb, and I can start
Dude.
my actual professional. I'm 6 months in, guys. I legit started in March. I said I want to go fly a drone,
Dude, that's
and I went and
awesome.
flew a drone. But I turned more into being a media professional. But like I
Sure.
said, my drone is probably one of my most powerful tools.
I think it's important too. And it's so funny. It's like all these things you're saying, it's like we get, you hear them from almost every person that we have on the podcast. So it's like, if you guys are listening to these things, like take note. If everybody who's successful is saying the same things, maybe they're true. You know what I mean? It's like, hey,
Right.
don't be afraid to do free work. Your
You
drone is
got
just
to.
a tool. Just because you own a drone doesn't mean you're going to be a successful drone pilot or business owner. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like all of
You
these
got to put
things.
the
Like,
time in. You got to put the time in. You got to grind. You got to believe in yourself. You got to have that confidence. You got to walk the walk and talk the talk. Go out there and look professional. If you're going to show up to yeah, we're drone pilots. Yeah, we're leisurely. Yeah, we're big nerds, and we'll probably show up in like jeans and a t-shirt and our baseball hat backwards and sunglasses. But we still got to look professional. I
yeah.
show up and I look like a pilot. As a matter of fact, I look like Tom Cruise from Top Gun, but that's a whole other story. they don't call me Maverick for nothing, brother. No, I'm kidding. But you gotta look the part. You gotta be able to speak the jargon. You gotta be able to make them feel confident in choosing you as their drone pilot. And then
Yep.
on top of that, post on Instagram, post on LinkedIn, post on Facebook, post on all the platforms. Just make sure that you tailor what you're posting properly for the platform you're posting on.
Mm.
Not everybody likes tomatoes, but some people like ketchup, some people like Roma tomatoes, some people like regular, like the big tomatoes. Hey, they're all tomatoes. They're just package different. That's it.
So talk about that a little bit. So how would you do something differently for, let's say, Instagram versus Facebook versus LinkedIn?
So for instance, like Instagram, I'll do my short 15-minute quick clips, or I'll post in stories. My Instagram, my feed, my wall is a little bit more curated. I put my better of the better on my wall, and I like to curate my wall according to the seasons or moods. So you'll see the color or moodiness of the images kind of relate with each other as it moves up the wall. So that's my Instagram. My stories are more my lifestyle behind this, like my BTS footage, me out flying my drone, this, that, and the other. And that's more of a sizzly hit for Instagram. Really quick, really fast, good snappy music. My my LinkedIn, a little bit more polished. Maybe not so drum and bass, maybe not so much
drum and bass.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
sure. A little bit, techno, a little bit more like a little more corporate-y.
Just slightly.
Yeah.
It still has to have a little bit of an edge, because there are normal people in corporate life that get that kind of humor.
Right.
But you do want to have it a little bit more polished. TikTok. If you're not on TikTok, you're missing the boat. There is no algorithm on TikTok. You want somebody to see it, chances are they're going to see it, and millions of people are going to see it. You want to get yourself out there and branded, do it on TikTok.
It's funny you say that. I had one of my buddies, he makes courses as well, not anything to do with drones, but just, another online course guy that I've become friends with. And, I think Drone Launch technically has a TikTok account, but I think I've been on there once, right? And he messaged me today and said, dude, David, you need to get on TikTok. He's like, my fourth post has, or my third or fourth post has 500,000 views. He's like,
dude, during the protests, I did one that went 5 mil.
Are you kidding?
It went 5 mil in the first week and got banned because of the controversial conversations that were starting because of it.
Dude, so yeah, I mean,
TikTok, bro. You want to get out there, TikTok.
All right, well, that's a good. I don't have any advice to give on TikTok, as I'm not. But
I'm horrible at it, but.
But hey, you're obviously better than me. You got something that got 5 million views.
It was a lucky piece. I was in the right place. Well, I was in the wrong place at the right time, and I caught it off tape, and it went controversial.
Oh gosh. Yeah, well, all right. Well, TikTok. If you're looking for some other strategies, go for TikTok.
Sorry, guys. Drones. Back to drones. Drones.
No, I mean,
so we digress.
Still, this is like people listening to this want to get clients, get a business going. And the way to do that is to have people know about you, right? So how do you have people know about you? You got to post stuff and tell people, right? So like just like you did, you just
seriously, super seriously too. Like as soon as I got into this, I got this little rack. I come home, first thing I do, my cards come out, they get dumped. Don't lose your footage. 2, all my stuff gets unpacked, cleaned, and right back on the rack and inspected. All my blades, all my props, all my cameras, everything, all the connections are taken off and cleaned. All my lenses are wiped down. Treat it professional. This is your equipment. It will make you money. It might not happen overnight. Guys, I didn't make any money or didn't do anything. It was feast or famine. Or it was famine, no feast. It was all famine for the first 3-4 months, guys. I was hurting, and it was kind of scary. But you keep on grinding, you keep on pushing, and you keep on putting yourself out there. Network with people. You are who you run with. You want to be successful. Go run with successful people. Rub elbows with them. They know people. They know people. They know people. And next thing you know, they know somebody who's trying to sell their 10 acres, and they know this guy who's got a drone. They put the 2 of you in contact, and now you got your first commission piece.
Yep. So, I love it, and it's so true. And we tell people, you just got to become known as, oh, that's the drone guy, or that's the video guy.
Yep.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. Because I know I tell this story occasionally, but it's like, my main gig is running Drone Launch Academy. So we're essentially like an education company. So we partner with some other people for courses and this and that. I teach some of it, but a lot of it it's taught by other people, and we partner with people, right? My job is going out and finding successful drone pilots like you and talking to you and managing our team, all that stuff, right? So that takes a lot of time. I don't do a ton of like I mean, I fly my drone for fun, obviously, and for testing things out. We make little mini courses on drones. So, I use them like that, but I'm not out here trying to grow a big like drone service media
Right,
company,
right,
right?
right.
But even people know me because, oh, David runs Drone Launch Academy. I get approached constantly about like, oh, hey, David, you're a drone guy, right? Can you do this? Or can you know someone who can do that? Like, so, occasionally if it's for a friend, like one time I had somebody said, hey, David, can you go shoot this? And it was like, I made $1,300 shooting some commercial property from somebody who knows this
Wait,
guy over
how
here.
much for doing what?
Yeah, it was like a job where
Right.
it was like they had 4 different locations, a bunch of warehouses and some retail office space. And they were just trying to document all the properties they had and put together like a little portfolio video.
Was it
And they
just
just wanted,
was it video?
they just wanted pictures. And I said, I was like, I'll throw in the video for free. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it was kind of like baked
Yeah.
into the time. And I said, I'm going to be in the air anyways. I might as well just do like a quick orbit around
That's
each
the first
property.
thing I say to my real estate agents is like, I'll get you a real quick, like 15-second exterior sizzle video. I'm in the air anyways.
Yeah.
Hit record for a couple seconds, do a couple flybys, edit
Right.
together.
Right.
No big
Now,
deal.
granted, I'm not like a Hollywood editor. It took me a little, the editing took me a little while, which was fine, and it's kind of fun to have like a project like that. But I'm just, all I'm saying this to say is that, that's just your network and what you're known for will lead to jobs. So I think that's like what you're saying is right on, like focusing on that.
I think that was one of my biggest things about calling myself the best in the Midwest and saying my name is Maverick and this, that, and the other. Like people associated, all Phil talks about is drones. Phil always has his drone. Phil's always posting about drones. The second somebody needs drones, you don't think my name is the first thing that pops into their head?
Right.
Because of the way I branded myself and marketed myself. Yes, there's plenty of drone pilots here in Columbus, but the only person people talk about when they say drone pilot is Philhurst Media because of how much I'm putting out there, to the point where other drone pilots in here are contacting me and saying, hey, can you do a tutorial video on how you edited it?
I'm that's like, cool.
Right. So I take pride in that. I'm not saying
sure.
I'm a better pilot than them at all, because I don't know if I am. I've never tested that. But it's nice to know that they see me as an authority in the industry.
And it's, and I think another thing to kind of support what you're saying is, obviously you do need to be good, right, at what you're doing. You have to have a good product. But in any business, right, it's not the person with the best product that wins. If you have the best product and nobody knows who you are, maybe there's somebody out there that's way better than you at editing or filming or whatever, but they don't know how to. They don't know how to promote their work. They're not willing to go out and reach out to a ton of realtors. They're not willing to go out and meet people, right? So you're the one who gets the work because people think about you. Now obviously, if you sucked, that wouldn't work.
The squeaky wheel gets the oil, man. The squeaky wheel gets the oil.
Yeah. So your work is good. So if your work sucked, it wouldn't be the same. But
I would be on here. My work's like
but you know what I mean. Like you have to have something good. But I think that's something that people maybe they misunderstand, is that they think if I'm not the best person ever, like, or they think I've got to be, and I'm not saying don't try to be, obviously try to be the best and try to increase your skills and stuff. But I think a big piece of the puzzle that people forget about is getting known, getting out there and meeting people, and like doing the marketing and building relationships, right? Like if you don't have that piece, it doesn't matter how good you are,
Man, my first job, if you see my first video compared to the ones that I've done now, and this is only like a 6-month span I'm talking, well, no, a year and a little, well, let's say a year. So my first drone video compared to my most recent drone video, I'm surprised they even paid me. To be quite honest with you, bro. I felt like, dude, I'm looking back, I'm like, I had no idea what I was doing.
But here's the thing: you had the guts to like go out there and just give it a go. Give it a go. Like people get too scared. They're too scared. I'm not good enough, or I don't know. I'm like, well, you know what? You're not going to know unless you just get it out there. And then once you get something better, replace it with your, take at least if it's your like social media stuff, you can archive posts on Instagram and keep your better stuff there or whatever. So, no, I think that's.
I've actually just started doing that and highlighting stuff too. I just started doing it because all my real estate stuff, I'm like, just throw these in highlights, all my editing stuff.
Yeah. No, so I think that's really good. So real quick, let's get into some more details if you don't mind sharing. So like, if are you doing like walkthrough videos for real estate, or are you doing just like photos, or what's kind of your typical package for people?
So depending on the client, okay, and depending on their needs, I will do photos, HDR photos and bracketed photos with flash photography and photo editing.
Inside and out?
I also, what's that?
Inside and outside, interior and
Inside
exterior?
and
Yeah.
exterior, interior. I also do twilight and sky replacement for the exterior, beautiful, like establishing shot, the money shot, you know. I do virtual staging.
Okay.
I do virtual tours and 360 Matterport tours.
Okay.
I do 3D exterior mapping
Okay.
and point cloud and yada yada yada. I do cinematography, aerial cinematography, and ground cinematography, and I also do walkthrough video tours, kind of like just real like if Steven Spielberg filmed your home tour.
Okay.
It'd be like that.
Okay. Now, are you doing? I'm interested. You said the 3D like mapping and point cloud stuff. Are you doing that for like realtors, or are you doing that for other applications?
I do that for my larger commercial realtors, real estate agents.
Gotcha. Okay. Very cool. And then what's kind of, I don't know, like what's the prices in your area? Like what kind of stuff, like people always want to know, like, what do you charge? And what do you like, how should I price my stuff? Like what
No,
advice do you have
on
for
the
that?
ground, in the air, I'm $250 an hour.
Okay.
Okay. My starting low ball price for just a video up to $400,000 home listing price is $350.
Okay.
Anything after $400,000 is $1,000 listing price for a video. So let's say a $3 million home, that's a $3,000 video.
Okay.
Typically on a $3 million home, there's a little more architectural elements to videograph, some more things to see, maybe a nice pool. You might want to catch it in the sunrise as well as the sunset. So now you're talking about a much longer day.
So you price it so above 400,000. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Just to clarify, above 400,000, you're saying $1,000 for every 1 million in the listing price.
No, for every $1. Yes,
Sorry,
1,000
I guess I probably put that
million.
differently.
Or just it's the same concept. It's $1 per $1,000 listing
sure.
price.
Okay.
That's
sorry.
the way to break it down. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry.
And then my Matterport. Also, once again, depending on the size of the house, I'll do my Matterports for $300.
Okay.
I have that same day turnaround. My photos, depending on how many photos of my deliverable, it can go anywhere from 20 to 50 photos. 50 photos on a really big house, 50 photos, you're looking at somewhere around $400, and that's edited, HDR shot, flash photography, removal of like chips on walls, and just
like high touch.
Fire in the fireplace, putting an image on the TV if we're in a room with the TV and it's not on, stuff like this.
Gotcha.
I offer the full package, and like I said, I don't do it just to make money. I do it to sell the house. I like to build the relationship. This is why I did all those free things. This is why I reached out to 500 people my first day. I'm not trying to make money. End result, yes, make money. Main goal, build a relationship.
Yep.
Have something to offer. Don't just be like, I need you to give me. No,
right.
I have this to give you. You will sell your house with what I have to give you. And the byproduct of you selling this house is you paying me what I'm worth to sell that house for you. So this way you get your paycheck a month faster than you thought you would. I get their house sold, $3 million house. There's a lot on the line for the realtor. They will pay you $3,000 to make whatever their percentage is tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So that's awesome. Now, you sounds like you've done some. So it sounds like you've been making money in kind of the real estate area, but you've also gotten some other kind of interesting jobs, like the mountain biking thing. Do you have any other type of like more outside of the box? Like what's one of your favorite kind of non-real estate related gigs you've gotten?
Photography, and product photography and branding. I like doing brand marketing. So for instance, I'll shoot a wakeboard, or I'll shoot a boat. Okay. Or I'll shoot an event outdoors, or I have a couple of models that I work with that I'm doing a cinematic, or just more like just a really cool like demo reel for them and their modeling stuff, But I
Okay.
use everything. I use my GoPro, I'll use my 360, I'll wind up using my Canon, I'll wind up using my drone for coming in for doing different things, and I'll wind up even using my FPV drone just
Cool.
for a different, some other stuff that we have going on. So it's going to wind up using all of my tools in this one thing, and it's very much outside the realm of, for one, just being a drone pilot, and for two, being in real estate. Like, it's completely different than real estate. And
Yeah.
then I've got 2 weddings coming up on September and in March. So it's guys, yes, it's a drone, and yes, it's powerful in a lot of different areas, but it's powerful in a lot of different areas.
Yeah.
You don't have
Yeah.
to just pigeonhole yourself into one thing and think you're stuck there doing construction sites the rest of your life. No, you
Yeah.
can find ways to use this for sure.
That's awesome. Now I'm curious, people always love me to ask this, and you can share as much as you're comfortable sharing, but you said you started like 6 months ago. What would you say, like, average revenue wise for a month, are you at now? And you can, if you want to ballpark it, you can, or if you don't want to answer, that's fine too.
Right now, well, being the fact that every time I make money, I like to buy new equipment, I'm not making any money.
Well, just revenue, not necessarily how much you're taking out.
I'd say the past 3 months, just on my drone work alone. Let's say, would you like just my drone work or my video work? My business.
Well, let's say if it includes, like, so let's say you're doing like a
all my
home
stuff includes drone. I never leave drone out.
Okay, well then just all of it then.
Okay, all of it. I'd say I'm bringing home with, and don't get me wrong, because of the drone is the reason I land most of those jobs, because people want that footage for that, and then the other stuff is just a throw in.
Sure.
But I'd say I'll easily about $3,000 a month.
Okay, nice.
Bringing him, yeah,
nice,
easy.
Yeah. And you started,
and that's like almost not working.
Really?
That's like me sitting home on a Friday doing a podcast with Drone Launch Academy in my pajamas.
Well, I mean, hey, this is branding too. You know what I'm saying? So technically.
No, I'm in my pajamas, not you. I'm in my pajamas.
Still, you can say, listen, I'm a
brand, guys.
I'm a nationwide renowned, drone pilot, featured on podcasts that are global. Technically, you can get on Apple Podcasts anywhere in the world, So
right.
So okay, cool. So, but I mean, so you just started several months ago, and now you're doing it full time, making $1,000 a month.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Paid, paying my taxes, making sure that I have my pay. Part goes to the company, a percentage goes to 3 years being able to buy new equipment. A percentage goes into my pocket, and the percentage is put aside for taxes. I have to do this, and I stick to it. And people are like, well, why do you charge so much? I'm like, well, because in 3 years I'm going to have to buy new equipment. All this equipment is getting used, so you're getting charged part of the use of this equipment. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's business.
Yeah. That's great, man. And it's good you have the discipline too, because I feel like a lot of times, especially if people start working for themselves, they forget.
I think about the discipline. Maintaining that discipline is difficult.
Yeah.
You start seeing your business's bank account go up. You're like, oh, I need a new Sony A7 III.
Well, then you also, when you got a W-2 job, they're holding your taxes. When you're making the money, you got to remember, oh wait, there's a big chunk of this.
Hard.
That's
really hard. But I just 25% is not even mine. It's
good.
Gone.
Yeah. It's a good rule of thumb. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that with us. I know people are always curious to know, like, what's especially for people who are starting out, they want to know, like, what's possible.
That's just the beginning. And that's doing very light lifting.
Yeah.
I mean, if you get in, I'm being told that I'm not charging enough. I just did a luxury real estate piece as a favor. He's not even a friend. He's like, hey, and we were kind of buddy, and I was like, yeah, I'll do it for $1,300, right? And he's like, oh wow. So I went out and did it, and I showed him the product. He goes, you don't charge enough. He's a wealthy businessman,
Well, that's good to hear.
Business. And he goes, you don't charge enough. I'm like, well, I kind of thought about that. I was like, well, what would you have paid for this? He's like, for this video, just the video, I would have easily given you at least just for the video what you asked. But you provided video, you provided drone footage, you provided this extra photo, and you provided the 3D Matterport. He's like, I was expecting to at least have paid at least $3,500 for this entire service.
Oh, wow.
So
And I'm
That
guessing that's
one
pretty
job,
high end, right? Like a high end
it
thing
was
to
a, it
do.
was a very high end. I had to shoot his Ferrari. It was a $1.5 million piece of property on the Scioto River, like in
Gotcha.
Upper Arlington, Columbus. So
Yeah.
it was a nice area, and he could have afforded to pay for it.
Yeah.
But I was just like, no, it's fun for me. It's really nothing for me. But once I went out there and did it, I was literally at his house from morning till night doing everything. So it was a long full day of work, but I
Sure.
could have made my monthly nut in that one project had I
Mm.
priced it right.
Yeah. Well, and now you have that relationship too, right? And goodwill
And
with
he knows a
him.
lot of rich people.
Yeah, that's right. So,
you
even
know?
though you may have undersold that job, right? Like
Mhm.
you've probably gained his trust, his respect, and so like, a
He
lot,
was
I
very
think,
appreciative of how business professional I was about everything, and he was very appreciative that I understand that I knew my value, but I was still giving him the hey, you know what, you're helping me out because this builds my portfolio too.
yeah.
So I think at the end of all this, he might even go ahead and cut me a bonus. Well, we don't. We'll
Oh,
see. We'll
yeah,
see.
yeah.
That'd be
And I
awesome.
think that's one thing that's important too to convey to people, because sometimes if you're in the free work phase and you're like, hey, I'll do free work for you, people know that nobody's doing anything for no value in return, right? Like it's just not a human thing, right? So, and if you say that, they get suspicious. Like, well, why would you? So, like you said, if you say, hey, listen, I'm trying to build my portfolio, I need stuff to put on my website and to show stuff, so I'm willing to do one for free, and that at least makes sense to people when they register. Oh, okay, well that
Oh,
makes
they're
sense.
doing.
I
They
could.
are getting something out of this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Even though it is benefiting them and you're technically not getting anything out of it, they can
Mhm.
see, oh, here's how you're benefiting, but it doesn't cost them anything for
Right.
your benefit. You know what I'm saying? So I found when I've said to people, hey, I'll do this for free, they're like, why? They're just skeptical, especially if they don't know you, right? If it's a
Yeah,
friend,
that's my
obviously they
first
could
cap
do it.
breaker is I let them know why I'm doing it to build my portfolio. Look, I'm new in the industry. I would like to get some of these things under my belt. I want to build my portfolio and I'd like to start with you. Would you like to go ahead and get something going? That's like literally, it's just like diarrhea of the mouth. I could just say it now because I've said it so many times.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
yeah.
that's awesome. So I think that's an important, yeah, like good outreach strategy for people. Tell them, hey, here's the honest truth why what's in this for me, Yeah, so I love that. Cool. Well, I won't take up any more of your time. We've been chatting for a while now. Usually these are like 30, 40-minute episodes. So I really appreciate you coming on and
Of
sharing
course.
all your wisdom, telling us where you're at. It sounds like you're still like growing a lot. So, love to have you on again in a future season maybe. And,
I would love to.
check
Heck,
back
I'd
in.
love to come down to Florida and fly with you sometime, man.
Dude,
For
come on
sure.
down.
I'll make a
We were
little
talking
short film for you guys.
right before the podcast, but Phil used to live like everywhere around where I live, but not actually where I live. So,
Never like right in the center.
yeah. But anyway, so well, hey, if people want to follow you or get in contact with you, what's the best way to see your stuff and chat
You can
with
find
you?
me at Philhurst Media on YouTube. That's Philip with one L.
Okay,
Philhurst Media. It's spelled right there on the screen. Philhurst Media. You can also find me Instagram, Philhurst Media. You can also find me Facebook, Philhurst Media. You can also find me at LinkedIn at Philhurst Media. See the
nice
branding, man?
consistency.
That's
I like
pretty
it. I like
it,
it.
man.
And we'll
Where can I find you? Philhurst Media.
and we'll link it up in the show notes. We'll
Absolutely.
put
Thank you.
your YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and stuff. But yeah, give Phil a follow. You're fun to follow on Instagram. I enjoy
I'm all
your
right.
stories and stuff. Yeah. So all right, man. Well, thanks a lot for coming on. I know people really appreciate hearing from you, and hopefully they got a lot out of today's episode.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. I really do appreciate it. And you guys fly safe out there, okay?
All
For
right,
sure.
thanks, Phil. All right, hope you enjoyed that interview with Philip Hurst from Columbus. Make sure you check him out on Instagram and his social media channels. He always posts a lot of great content, cool drone videos, some FPV stuff, cinematic stuff. But I hope you got a lot out of that interview. I enjoyed talking to Philip and continuing to follow him. Quick reminder, remember, if you want a shirt, leave us a review on a podcast platform, screenshot it, send it to me, david@dronelaunchacademy.com. Also, fill out the secret question for this week to enter some prizes. Use either go to the email that the podcast episode came in, like the announcement email, or go to our YouTube channel and find the podcast for Philip Hurst, that video, and fill it out there. You have 1 week, so get it in there and win some cool stuff. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into this week. I will see you next week for Season 3, Episode 8. Take care.